Number 8. Komodo dragon. These intelligent, quick, and venomous animals don't need to hunt humans, but they will if they have to. They are the world's largest lizard at up to 10 feet long and 150 pounds, known to be able to eat up to 80% of their body weight in one meal. Fans of a leisurely meal, Komodo dragons usually kill their prey outright, but have a backup plan in a venomous bite, which eventually kills their victim, requiring no extra effort on their part. Other times, their meal is buried human remains that they've dug up with their enormous claws, forcing locals to pile heavy rocks high upon their graves. In 2017, Lon Leal, a 50-year-old Singaporean tourist, was mauled by a Komodo dragon while exploring a secluded area in Indonesia. Dismissing local guidelines, he forewent hiring a guide to save a little money and ventured off alone. Getting in close to take pictures, one, believed to be about 8 feet long, lunged at him, tearing his leg. Bloodied and shocked, horrified onlookers dragged him to safety. Apparently, all it costs is a little blood money to truly see them in their natural state. Number 7. Polar bears. There are multiple reported incidents of polar bear attacks that prove that they see humans as nothing more than prey. But those attacks may only be the tip of the rapidly melting iceberg for a much larger issue yet to come. A healthy male polar bear can weigh up to 1,600 pounds, smell prey from a mile away, and kill in one fell swoop. Surprisingly, it's not them you need to worry about, but their ravenous, usually younger brothers. When conditions are at their worst, it's reported that these animals seem to flip a switch, and they turn into a different beast. Out of desperation, even yearling bears have wandered into villages to hunt and kill humans. With melting ice caps and continuously reduced hunting grounds, the rate of these attacks could go on the rise. Between 2010 and 2014, when sea ice was at a record low, polar bear attacks were at a record high. Following this trend, in 2020, Johan Jacobus Koot from the Netherlands was killed in Svalbard, Norway, by a polar bear that had wandered into his campsite in the search for food. The campsite, in which Koot worked seasonally, sits about 800 miles from the North Pole. At 4 a.m., he was ripped from his tent. While surviving the initial attack, he later succumbed to his gruesome injuries. 6 fellow campers were hospitalized with shock but were otherwise uninjured. All residents and tourists are advised to carry a weapon on hand outside urban areas due to polar bear activity. But is that really a match for the world's largest carnivore at its most desperate? Number 6. Reticulated python. Amongst the list of animals who do prey on humans is the reticulated python. Capable of growing over 25 feet, it is the longest snake in the world and has made a name for itself as a man-eater. You can find them across Southeast Asia in grasslands and rainforests, but as strong swimmers, they've been found far out at sea and on seemingly remote islands. The reticulated python is an ambush predator and can swallow prey up to 100% of its own body weight, doubling in size. For the brave, it is considered an extreme and exotic pet. But human fatalities by this snake haven't only occurred in the wild. These pythons are constrictors that wrap their muscular bodies around their victims, asphyxiating them within minutes. Opening their jaws wide, they're then able to swallow their meal whole. As was the case in the most recent attack in Indonesia in June of 2018, when Wa Taba failed to return home after leaving to tend to her cornfield. 2 days after her disappearance, 100 villagers set out in search of her, only to find her intact inside the belly of a 23-foot-long python. It's an almost identical story to a year earlier, when an Indonesian man was killed and swallowed whole while out harvesting palm oil. Video documentation exists, viewer discretion is advised. Number 5. Lions. For the king of the jungle, humans might be fellow apex predators, but that definitely doesn't mean that you're off their menu. Lions are considered man-eaters, a classification of animals that have been shown to hunt, kill and actively incorporate human flesh into their diet. This means they aren't just out to kill, but to feast. In some cases, lions attack people as a last resort, driven by starvation, old age, and/or illness. In other cases, they're simply looking for another meal. But in the case of Catherine Chappell, it was a lioness protecting her cubs. It was in 2015 when the 29-year-old American was mauled by a lion while on a safari tour in Johannesburg, South Africa. After working on big-time shows such as Game of Thrones, she was using her vacation as a volunteer trip to work with local South African wildlife. Rolling down her window to get a better picture, she was bitten not once, but twice as the large cat stuck its head in the car. There was nothing anyone could do as her guide was injured himself in his efforts to save her. She is one of at least 200 fatalities a year reported in Africa alone. Number 4. Tigers. Tigers are the biggest living cat species and have claimed the largest number of human lives from big cat attacks. On their hind legs, they can reach up to 13 feet, higher than if Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson stood on Michael Jordan's shoulders. Tigers won't blink twice to change their eating habits to become man-eaters if they're injured, if food is scarce, or to defend their territory. Want some more reasons why a tiger would attack someone? If someone got too close or surprised them, or they were feeding, or their cubs are close by, or even if a chase was incited by a passing bicyclist. The moral of the story? If they want to attack, they will, captive or not. In the US, most captive tigers, a number in the thousands, are kept in unaccredited and poorly run breeding facilities and zoos or as private exotic pets. Even large facilities like the San Francisco Zoo have a dark past when it comes to tiger attacks. In 2006, their resident tiger, Tatiana, bit and ripped a zookeeper's arm through the bars during feeding. The zookeeper suffered chronic damage to his arm, but in light of the damage caused a year later, it pales in comparison. In December 2007, the same tiger escaped from her enclosure, killing 17-year-old Carlos Eduardo Souza Jr. and severely injuring 2 others. Evidence showed that some visitors had been taunting the tigress and that she simply called their bluff. Number 3. Piranhas. Will a piranha actively hunt a human? No. Can they inflict significant harm to one? Yes, and they have, but they're not likely to. Piranhas are scavengers and hardly hunt their prey, preferring to feed on easier targets like dying animals, small fish, or seeds and nuts. So, what calls for their deadly reputation? Behind the sensationalism of Hollywood, no overcompensating had to be made about the strength of their bite. At 72 pounds per square inch, they can boast of having the strongest bite of all fish relative to size. As the cockroaches or vultures of the riverbed, piranhas are survivors. So, when the environment gets harsh and food is scarce, having a bite of human or even another piranha is not off the table. In 2016, Brazil was struck with a series of piranha attacks in popular tourist areas. Many holidaygoers and their families were warned to avoid the water completely as splashing can attract them. Danielle Cardoso would have loved to have heard that warning before wading into the water with her 5-year-old daughter. Mrs. Cardoso was bitten savagely on her toe and watched as a piranha fell from her foot as she jolted it up in pain. Blood was everywhere, but with quick treatment, she managed to keep the toe. Cardoso's case was one of over 40 cases seen that year in Brazil alone. Local authorities deny it's a problem area, but you can be sure that Mrs. Cardoso won't ever be back. Number 2. Crocodiles. Anything that fits in the jaw of these ferocious hunters can and might just become their prey. Crocodile attacks are actually far more common than shark attacks, and their bite strength significantly outpowers that of both fellow list rivals, tigers and lions, at over 3 times the force. Land or water, these opportunistic hunters will snatch at any victim that moves. Over 1,000 times a year, that victim is a human. Studies of some crocodiles in Africa show that these cold-blooded creatures are far more likely to attack when the weather is warm. It's recommended to stay 3 meters from the water, and as easy targets, children should heed even more warning. In March 2021, an unnamed 8-year-old boy was attacked and killed while swimming in a river in Borneo. Although his father stood by watching, the boy was swallowed whole. His father could do nothing but try and chase the beast. Some people may believe they can scare off a croc by splashing. You cannot. So please, keep your hands and feet by your side at all times. Number 1. Great White Shark. If humans were hunted like any old prey by great white sharks, they would have a far more fearsome reputation than they do now. Their massive frame, which can grow up to 20 feet in length and weigh in at over 6,600 pounds, rightfully inspires fear. But it's their refined hunting techniques that truly demonstrate their incredible strength and prowess. Stalking their prey from the depths, they attack in a sudden and violent upward charge, launching themselves and their prey 8 to 10 feet in the air. Thankfully, they're usually kind enough to share their waters, but on occasion, about 80 times a year, unprovoked attacks do occur, and with devastating effect. Hannah Miggle was only 13 years old in 2009 when she learned firsthand, or first foot, the dangers of becoming their prey. Sitting astride her surfboard, she briefly noticed a dark shadow underneath her, before a 17-foot shark engorged her leg and tossed her into the air. She surfaced with the shark still holding fast to her leg, only let go as her nearby cousin battered its face. Not done yet, the shark pulled her under again as it went for her board. The two managed to save themselves by catching a wave back to shore, followed intently by the assailant. Miggle still has her leg, but scars and reduced mobility will burden her for life. There is a clear difference in the manner in which a great white shark attacks their prey versus how they attack humans. It's theorized that sharks bite humans out of curiosity rather than hunger. It's just too bad that their mouths act as sensory organs that require a little taste for identification. Partnered with continuously overcrowded beaches and hunting grounds, we are bound to continue to swim into each other. Thanks for watching. Would you rather face a starving polar bear with just a knife, or wrestle a reticulated python with your bare hands? Let me know in the comments below.